Hello guys and welcome on a new episode of the Blow Podcast, the voice of black metal and not only. This podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast and Apple Podcast and even on other platforms. Check even Facebook and Instagram because this podcast is even there. Today I want to talk about a serious topic because of the suicide of Trevor Strnad from the American band Black Dahlia Murder. This guy was the frontman of this band, but before starting, let's discover more about it. Black Dahlia Murder is a band from Waterford in Michigan, and their genre is melodic death metal. They formed in 2001, and the name comes from an unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, a waitress that in January 1947 was killed at Los Angeles Park. Her body was cut in pieces. So the name suited perfect for their own style. But on this episode I don't want to focus mostly on Black Dahlia Murder. I want to focus only on this singer that tragically killed himself on May 11, 2022. DecibelMagazine.com talks about him and it says basically a lot of stuff that I find very interesting. I first met Trevor Strnad more than 15 years ago during the tour cycle for the Black Dahlia Murder's third studio album, Nocturnal. The band was on the ascent at the point of backing Cannibal Corpse or Metal Parade's 25th anniversary tour. What struck me the most about Strnad, that just in his mid-20s, was how different in temperament he was from so many of the artists I met and talked to over the years. While it's fashionable to say someone is different after they pass, no one would deny that Strnad was unlike any death metal frontman or any frontman in the metal genre. He was part ferocious frontman and part court jester with a peerless passion for a knowledge of heavy metal. And even here it says, off-stage Strnad reminded you of the smartest guy who worked in the record store, which he was. On stage he was a force, proudly rubbing his belly while shirtless and working crowds in a way few performers ever mastered. Strnad was quick to laugh and never seemed to take anything seriously. At the same time, his attention to the smallest details was that of a completist who cared for what mattered most to them, with the body-in-law. That Strnad would take his own life at 41, according to Decibel, seems almost impossible to anyone who has interviewed him, seen him perform, or knew him in real life. His life force was so strong that you can't see him not existing. For starters, Strnad was a peerless lyricist who clearly drew on the best elements of Carcass and Jeff Walker, while taking the storytelling in a completely different direction. He was a consummate performer who turned BDM shows into moving parties, death black metal version of the late Hank Bonnell of Turbo Negro. Finally, he was a death metal fan, historian, archivist of the highest order. Even if you count the Decibel stuff, few people on the planet love death metal as much as Trevor Strnad. So he was a very funny guy, according to the site, and nobody would suspected that he was so depressed in real life that he would have took his own life. Rob Flynn on loudersound.com says he couldn't have asked for a better ambassador for metal. So Machine Head's Rob Flynn pays tribute to late the Black Dahlia Murder frontman Trevor Strnad, and he claims that Trevor was a funny, witty, smart, sweet guy. He was such a massive presence, an incredible frontman, a metal maniac. Everybody I know who met him loved the dude. Very first time he met was back in mid-2000s. Machine Head was touring in US and they had a day off, and Cannibal Corpse were playing a show that night, so they both together went to see them. And Black Dahlia Murder was on the bill, and they got the end of the song, sounded great, and they end out. So they said he had this ridiculously hot girl with him, but he ended up staying out with me all night. We got shit-faced, absolutely annihilated, and he felt sick on the bar, and he kept to drink again. So it was very funny, but even sad deep inside. This is what I think about this man, and it's kind of difficult to realize that he was so feeling probably lonely in his dark world. Because when you are depressed and when you are beating with this stuff inside of you, because depression is an amount of dark thoughts that you have inside your mind that you think to feel better, and that will pass or something like that, but it just eats you alive. Depression is something that makes you feel like you are worthless and you cannot even speak about it because you have fear that people would make a laugh about you, or they joke about your problems, or they just don't realize how sick you are. And no matter what you could say, nobody will understand you so deeply. So I think that this man was suffering solitude, loneliness, and his own problems, that he didn't even have the strength to talk about it and say, I'm suffering. Or probably say it and people didn't take him seriously. It's kind of sad that a vocalist that is famous all around the world, with tons of fans in every single city, in every single festival that he participated, he had so many fans, people that loved him, musicians that loved him, that met him, like Rob Flynn and other people as well. So depression is a real sickness, it's a real disease. The people should understand they shouldn't have fun, or they shouldn't make fun of people that suffer of this dark disease. It's a serious problem that many people have, and many people think that will pass, or it's important to seek for help, especially if you're dealing with this problem or these dark thoughts or suicide. It's important to speak about it. And so this is what I needed to tell about this singer. And it's kind of sad, you know. If you know more about him, just let me know in the comment section. But for now, see you soon, guys.